What's up, everybody? Welcome to Snack Size DFS for Thursday, December the 19th, 2024. I'm Dan Vespris, and I'm just here once again to introduce my good buddy, Brenton Eckersley, who's going to be bringing you a 16-minute breakdown of the massive Thursday card to get you set up as I throw my phone off the table. That's how excited I am about this upcoming episode. He's going to take you top to bottom with the best places to start your card, the best places to finish it, the games to attack, and really get you leveled off. Beginner DFS players, he's going to get you figured out for all the strategies you need to know. Advanced DFS players, he's going to point out all the angles that you might have missed. Before we get to Brenton, very quickly, BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. They've got the earliest odds, in-game live betting, and the ability to watch the games as they happen. You can bet on football, the NBA, college basketball, hockey, UFC, all sorts of good stuff. And don't forget, when you sign up, use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online. The game starts here. Brenton, I don't know why I'm making people wait.
Thanks, Dan. Welcome, guys, to the third edition of Snack Size DFS. This is your compact version of breaking down a DFS slate. I'm your host, Brenton Eckersley. If you haven't been here before, that's our objective here, is to go through the day's card for you. We use DraftKings prices, but we want to keep this as compact as possible, right? So not everybody has a whole lot of time to sit and listen to very long podcasts. So I've done the work for you guys. I want to keep these shows to an absolute minimum just to help you build a base for your DFS lineups. We're trying something new today. I was given a comment that staring at the camera for, the whole time I'm doing it was maybe not the best way to go about this. So we've added some screenshots, as you can see here. So we'll run through this little presentation very quickly. You'll see how my brain works, and you'll see exactly how I build my lineups, and hopefully we can get you guys some wins. Let's crack into it because it's a huge card. There are actually 13 games on today. DraftKings has split that up into 11 and 2, so we're just going to focus on the 11 game slate. As I said, I want to keep this short. We want to first focus on a couple of games that are quite fast. You can see there the totals for the Atlanta San Antonio game and the Golden State Memphis games are quite quick. We want to target those high total game games if we can. So they are both going to be close games as well, so we expect some good value there. The slower games of the day, you can see OKC at Orlando, 211 and a 6-point spread, and New York at Minnesota. Now that one's an interesting game because we're going to have Randall and Cat and DiVincenzo playing against each other, so that'll be a bit of an interesting matchup. Attack and stack. So this is the games that we want to really look at for teams that give up a whole heap of fantasy points. Utah, Washington, Brooklyn, my Pelicans, and the Portland Trailblazers all give up a stack of fantasy points generally. So we can target the teams on the other side of the ball. Detroit, Charlotte, Toronto, Houston, and Denver in this card. Let's get into it. First game, Charlotte at Washington. I like Miles Bridges here. Brandon Miller has come up as questionable. I didn't expect him to play, but if he doesn't play, then you could look at Bridges at 6,200. Cody Martin is going to get a big bump here if Miller is out at 5,200, and I still like LaMelo Ball at 9,900 here. Yeah, he's high price, but he just came back in and wreck shopped immediately, so we like him, especially if Miller is out. Nick Richards and Mark Williams, there's a little bit of a back and forth going on here. Mark Williams minutes are bumping up. I will play him at 4,900, but it's more of a cash play than a tournament play. For the Wizards, Bilal Coulibaly at 5,700. We have Kuzma and Brogdon questionable for this game. I like Coulibaly and Justin Champagnie at those prices if one of those guys are out. If both of those guys are out, we can probably play both Coulibaly and Champagnie. Brogdon himself is questionable, 5,600. I like him if he plays and Kuzma doesn't, then there's a lot more shots to go around for him and those guys. Moving into Utah, Detroit, we know that we can attack Utah, but on the Utah side of the ball, Keontae George still remains at a playable price. He doesn't have huge upside, although he can get up around that 40 to 45 DK points. So 6,100 is a nice cash play. Jordan Clarkson should play. I think he's questionable at the moment, but he is more of a tournament play. 5,500 at a cheaper price, but he is up and down a little bit with his points production. On the Detroit side of the ball, we can attack Utah. Tobias Harris and Jaden Ivey are both questionable. So Asar Thompson in that instance, especially if Harris sits 4,400, just lock him in. Sometimes you have to eat the chalk, and if Harris doesn't play, Asar Thompson is an absolute smash play, as we saw last time. Also, with those guys questionable, I still like Malik Beasley at 4,900 if one of those guys doesn't play. And also we have Isaiah Stewart questionable. So Jalen Duren at 5,500 would be a decent play if Stewart is out. As you can see the note there, the OKC at Orlando game is one of those slow total games, so I don't have a lot of interest in the high price players here. It's more the mid to low price players that I'll be looking at. Kaysen Wallace at 4,400 and Alex Caruso at 4K. Both of those guys are options. I probably wouldn't play them both in the same lineup. Goga Bitadze continues to get things done, 5,900. He and Mo Wagner at 4,700 are guys with decent floors at the moment. Both of them have high upside. Again, I wouldn't play them both in the same lineup. Jonathan Isaac is more of your tournament play, high upside dart throw at 4,700. Jumping across to Chicago at Boston, this has the potential of being a pretty bad blowout, but if Chicago can keep it close, then I like Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, and Lonzo Ball. So I think when I put this presentation together, Giddey was doubtful. I think he's come up as questionable now, and I believe that Levine is actually probably going to play. So a little bit out of date there, but those guys, look, if Giddey doesn't play, I'd be surprised if Giddey plays. If Giddey doesn't play, then I think either of those three guys can go into your lineup. So I especially like Lonzo Ball at 4,300. If Giddey is out, his minutes will have to continue to rise. Levine is now probable, I believe, so I reckon that probably rules out Patrick Williams. On the Boston side of the ball, we know we can attack Chicago for fantasy points. Derek White at 6,900 is always one of my favourite plays. Porzingis is questionable at the moment. Yes, they play different positions, but the minutes and usage have to go somewhere if Porzingis is out. I love playing Derek White, especially at that price. The last time Chicago played Boston, Jason Tatum went for 61 DK points, so he's a good high price play in this card. I also love playing Peyton Pritchard, 5,900, 44 DK points last time out against Chicago, and again, that bumps up to a very nice play, especially if Porzingis is out. And another one for if KP misses is Luke Cornett. That's kind of the bottom of the barrel price saver there. Brooklyn and Toronto. Cam Johnson at 7,100. I don't mind that as a cash play only. These guys are just beat up across the board. He has to put up a lot of shots. We like that price for Cam Johnson. Ben Simmons went 30 minutes plus last time these guys played. I was expecting Shake Milton. That one didn't work out. Ben Simmons is the one who played a lot of point guard and got 30 minutes. So 5,400, that price is too cheap if we see that Simmons is starting. Dorian Finney-Smith is 4,900 tonight and 30 plus minutes straight coming back from injury in his last two games. He had a quiet one last time, but I still like that price for Finney-Smith. And Day'Ron Sharpe was an interesting sighting that we hadn't seen much of. 3,600, 30 plus DK points in the last game. He's a bit more of a dart throw, but he can certainly be the guy you stick in if you need him. Toronto, this is a perfect matchup for RJ Barrett. Barnes is now showing as questionable on the news. So when I was putting this together, Barnes was nowhere near coming back, I didn't think, and now he's listed as questionable. So look, probably drops the appeal of RJ Barrett at 9,200 if Barnes plays, but if he's out, I think RJ Barrett's one of the best plays on the card as he was last time I recorded. We know that Jakob Poeltl went down with a groin and he is definitely out for this game. It was Chris Boucher who actually picked up the slack there. I don't know whether that'll stick, but 3,800, especially if we see he's starting, I don't know if he'll start. He might start. I don't think that the Raptors like him enough to start him, but if he's there, 3,800, even coming off the bench, he should get 20 plus minutes and he can put up fantasy points really, really quickly. The other one with Pirtle out to keep an eye on is Kelly Olynyk. So he's had a pretty big price jump. DraftKings expect him, Kelly, to be the guy to pick up the slack here. 5,500, I would only play him if he's starting. Golden State at Memphis. We know that Dennis Schroeder is in for this game, or he's showing us probable. He's almost definitely going to play. I just like this as a statement game. First game in Warriors colours. 6K is too cheap, and Draymond Green is a solid floor cash play at 6,300. One thing we need to keep a note on here, I was looking at Jonathan Kuminga, but with Schroeder coming in, we have to watch what happens to minutes across the board. Guys like Pajemski and Kuminga could suffer here, so I'm leaving Kuminga out. Ja Morant has come up as questionable. He is one of my favourite plays if he does play at 9K. This is going to be a fast game. It's a big game against the Warriors. It's at home. I like Ja Morant if he's in. If he's out, we can probably fire up a bit of Scottie Pippen Jr. at 4K. I also like Jaren Jackson Jr. here. He had a nice big game versus the Warriors last time out, so 7,200 seems too cheap. And also Zach Edey at centre. Came back in, smashed through the price tag that DK put up. I think this is a slight price rise for him at 4,300, but I still like that value. Atlanta at San Antonio, Trae Young at 9,400. He has finally picked it up. A lot more scoring from Trae, as well as his assists and all the other things that he can do. 9,400 in a fast matchup is a good price. I love Jalen Johnson here. I just can't. I went through the Spurs lineup and I just can't work out who's going to guard this guy. They can put someone on him to guard him, but who's going to actually stop him? I'm not sure they have anyone. 8,400 is nice. Also, we know that Okongwu is out. He came up and he's going to miss a week or so at least. So Clint Capella is going to be a good play as long as Onyeka is out. 5,300. On the Spurs side of the ball, we've got a fast matchup. Jeremy Sohan at 6,700 is nice. Around value probably, so a decent solid cash play. Chris Paul, cash play again, 6,300 in a fast matchup. Devin Vassell had an absolute shocker last time he played. 2 from 11 from the floor. He's still too cheap at 5,200. We don't expect him to miss 9 shots out of 11 every time he plays. And we also know that Zach Collins at centre is questionable. If he is out, Charles Bassey is going to get backup minutes, so 4K is a tournament play. My Pelicans suck. Houston should take full advantage. We do still have players out for the Pelicans. No Zion, no Brandon, as we know. CJ McCollum at 7,200. That's just an easy play with those guys out. Trey Murphy is a little bit up and down, but 6,700. He is very shot dependent. But if the threes fall, he can burst through that value pretty easily. Eve Missy, good floor. He is a yo-yo for sure. I don't mind him here in this matchup. And we also know that there's no Daniel Tice in this game, so that's more minutes for Missy. Herb Jones at 5,300 is also a good, solid cash play. Okay, on the Rocket side of the ball, Alpie's going to beat the living you-know-what out of Eve Missy, I would have thought. So 8,800, I love that price for Sengun versus the Pelicans. And the last 3 guys on this list, we've got Green, Amen Thompson, and Dylan Brooks. All of these guys are going to get bumps simply because they're playing the Pelicans, and we are terrible. Clippers versus Dallas. I don't like too much of the high price stuff going on here for the Clippers. Kevin Porter Jr. continues to get things done. 4,800 is a decent price. He can get you up to 30 plus DK points. He is high risk, high reward. Just keep that in mind. And as per usual, if Amir Coffey is shown as the starter at 4K, he's more of a cash play if you need that low budget guy just to get you, a decent amount of DK points without a huge upside. On the Mavericks side of the ball, Luka didn't practice. That's worrying for the Dallas Mavericks. If he doesn't play, then Spencer Dinwiddie and PJ Washington are good plays. Spencer Dinwiddie as a potential replacement at 3,700 and PJ Washington just as the usage bump at 6,500. Kyrie did practice, I believe. He's still questionable. If both those guys don't play, or even if one of them sits out, Quentin Grimes is a pretty good play at 3,900. I love that if both Luka and Kyrie sit for some reason. But you can still play him if it's only Luka out. Indiana at Phoenix, Tyrese Halliburton in a fast matchup, 8,400. I don't mind that. It's definitely in play. It's probably not one of my favourite high-priced guys, but you can definitely use him. And Obi Toppin is a guy I generally don't play, but he's burning me right now. 4,700. I need to start looking more at Obi Toppin. He is too underpriced. On the Sun side of the ball in that fast matchup versus the Pacers, Kevin Durant at 9K. 45 DK points is really a base for Durant if he's on his game on any given night. So 9K is a good price there. Beal is probable now. So Royce O'Neal probably is not worth looking at if Beal plays. And the other guys were also Beal replacements. So Tyus Jones and Grayson Allen. If Beal is out, he is listed probable. You expect him to play, but if something happens and he doesn't suit up, you can look at any of those three guys. New York at Minnesota. So here is the revenge game. It is a slow one though. Keep that in mind. If you believe in revenge narratives, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. The only one I really believe in is Klay Thompson when he goes back and plays the Warriors, as we saw the other night. Karl Anthony Towns at 10-2. If you believe the revenge game narrative, have a crack. It could be a highly emotional game, and yeah, he could break through that value. I also like Jalen Brunson at 8,300. He's very capable of exceeding that value any given night. Anthony Edwards 9,100 back the other way. That's a good price for Ant Edwards. It's that revenge game narrative again, although he's not really involved, but emotions will be running high in this one. You can have a crack at Ant Edwards. Naz Reid at 4,800. In his last games, he's gone 1 of 10 and 3 of 10 shooting. That's terrible. We know that. But if he can hit his shots and get that up, closer to 6 out of 10, then he's a good play at 4,800. Jaden McDaniels is another guy I don't play very often, and he is another guy who has burnt me the last couple of games. 4,700. I've just got issues playing him. Every time I play him, he sucks. So you can play him if you like. I'll probably leave him alone. My favourite picks over those 11 games, I love RJ Barrett versus Brooklyn if Barnes is out. As I mentioned, the Houston Rockets guys against the Pelicans. We got Alpy, we've got Jalen Green, Amen Thompson, even Dylan Brooks on that list. I love Jalen Johnson versus San Antonio. If Porzingis is out, and even if Porzingis is not out, you can play Pritchard versus Chicago. If Luka or Kyrie stay out, then Spencer Dinwiddie in the Mavericks lineup is a good play. And we now have Okongwu out, so Capella is a good play. That's about it from me. Thank you, Dan. I will see you guys next time. This has been Snack Size DFS for the Old Man Squad Network, and you can find me on socials at Terrain72.
Thanks, Brenton. Another awesome snack size DFS in the hopper. Brenton will be back with another snack size DFS when the time is right. It's not going to be every day again, but it's going to be when the cards allow it and when Brenton can find those sweet, sweet angles for you guys to exploit. You can follow him again on social media at Terrain72. I'm Dan Bespris, the host of Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball, our full season show here on the Old Man Squad Sports Network. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube page, subscribe to the podcast feed so you get everything that we put your way. What am I forgetting? Hit the like button on your way out. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to drop that 5-star review. Those continue to be super important. And again, shout out to Brenton for another amazing, amazing show. We'll have full season fantasy coverage coming up every single day. You guys know how we do things here. There's rarely a break in our coverage. Can't wait to catch up with you guys again soon. We out.